All right, all right. We are officially live. In case you didn't know that already, in case I haven't said that enough. We are live, ready to rock. The one thing I always like to point out, guys, as we get going, we do a lot of business, and it's because of the people on this call. So thank you guys for joining us. We have a rock star presentation put together, as well as a awesome topic to be chatting about. Some call it controversial. I call it opportunity. When the tough gets going, the going, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, as they say, right? Cannabis funding is one of those restricted industries, and kind of taboo industries across the spectrum here. And because of that, a lot of people don't like to touch it. And that's where I think, there is a lot of opportunity for those that do want to, really get it going. So without further ado, I am Tony Cimino. I am here to provide you guys with some insight into cannabis funding on 420. We're going to just get this thing rocking. And like I said, at the end, I'm going to do an open Q&A session, and hopefully you guys can take some value from this. It is, like you guys were saying, it is timed pretty well. So we want to get this thing going. And without further ado, let's do that. All right. Cool. So why the cannabis business, right? Essentially, like we were saying, obviously we timed this thing well. It's 420. Everybody's thinking about it. Some of us are doing it. Some of us wish we could do it, right? At the end of the day, some of us are hungry from it. But at the end of the day, there is a lot going on in the cannabis space. Like, if you haven't seen the news, if you haven't understood what is going on, there is a immense push in the United States here to revolutionize how we do business in all industries, even in ones that are illegal, as they say, right? Right now, if you are aware, federally in the United States, cannabis is illegal. Right. I don't know I don't know what schedule drug it is or this or that, but I can tell you it is not federally legal for a business to have a checking account if you operate in the cannabis industry. Right. So there are ways that businesses get around it. One of the major ways is if your state has legalized it. The Fed has basically said, hey, we're going to go with what the states say on this topic, but they haven't officially ruled it to be, legally legalized through the Fed. And that's where I think it's important that you understand what is going on in this industry, because there is a lot of opportunity. It's much, much more than just cannabis. Like, even us alone, when you start to break it down, some of the lenders and banks and financial institutions that are out there, they look at it in a couple different ways. But one of the major ways is, hey, do you touch the flower or do you not touch the flower, right? People that are in like the retail side or the growing side, they might have a tougher time, or they might have a different type of funding that they need to look at versus somebody who maybe they produce, maybe they're a manufacturer who sells glass containers to retail stores, right? Like, you're still technically in the cannabis industry, but you're not touching the flower. So there's a lot of opportunity. It's really important that you understand the industry as a whole. So as we start to understand the industry and what's going on in the industry, now you start to think about the cannabis funding side. And that's what brings us to being on this webinar today, is talking about what is going on in the industry today. And that's where ROK really comes in. As a commercial financing broker, as somebody who prides themselves on being on the front lines with business owners, just know that when it comes to the market and what the market has available, that's what ROK Financial is going to bring to you. We have direct access to over 75 plus banks and lenders across the nation. And that allows us to really have our pulse on what is actually going on. So we see from time to time cannabis companies getting money for, hiring new employees, purchasing equipment, doing build outs, potentially, if you're building a dispensary, you may need glass casing and you're going to need POS and you're going to need all these different things. You start to think about, hey, how does a business operate regardless of industry? There's going to be a lot that goes into it. So it's important that as we start to get going, you understand that all of the different things that go into it are really what make it a worthwhile topic. So the real understanding behind things is, when you go into the cannabis industry, right, and you start looking at things, you want to start on as broad of a spectrum as possible. Well, what is going on? Well, realistically, there is a lot going on globally. It's one of the fastest growing industries. No pun intended on the growing part, right? But you should know that by moving more towards regulation and quality control, we're putting more focus and more of the spotlight onto the industry as a whole. And that's where you're seeing this compounding growth, right? I think a lot of people think about this in things like tech and AI these days, but every industry is experiencing this, and it's kind of magnified in the industries that are newer. And one of the reasons that I know this is our own industry. Alternative lending is a newer industry. It really came up and became popular during the recession of 2008, 2007, 2008, and that's when banks really stopped lending to small businesses and alternative lenders stepped up and started lending to small businesses. And because of that shift, since that moment, the compounding factor has immensely changed the landscape. And that's exactly what's going on in the cannabis industry, because you can literally look at, the last, 10 or 15 years and understand exactly where things started and how fast they've gotten to the point that they're at. You really understand that, hey, this thing is moving at light year speed, and that really, really indicates how much opportunity you then have. So what are some things we want to know? Is it difficult to qualify for cannabis lending? Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, right? You may have thought you were going to get somebody who's going to come on here and tell you, hey, listen, it's very minimal this, it's very, small that, and you can get access to it. You got the wrong one. I am going to give you the facts. If you are a cannabis business, it's not the easiest thing in the world. You have to dot your I's and cross your T's twice as much as the next business because you're in a restricted industry. The one thing that's important is that you understand the seat that you're in. And like I said, dot your I's and cross your T's, and you will get access to funding. How quickly? Quickly is going to be based on you as a business owner. There's a lot of lenders out there these days. The cannabis industry, we see deals get done in as little as like 1 to 3 business days. I think we even had a same day funding or two in the past. So, we see lightning speed. Once a funding source is comfortable with the fact that you're in the cannabis industry, there's not going to be, as long as they're, like I said before, you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's, as long as they can get over you being in the cannabis industry, they'll usually move pretty quickly. And can I use the funding to purchase inventory? Some people think, hey, does that mean I'm purchasing drugs with this money? It depends on how you look at it. We look at it as inventory. Right. At the end of the day, if you're purchasing this inventory and you're going to flip it in your business, absolutely, you can apply this funding towards that, for your business. Right. How do I get started? That's always a very simple question, right? What does it take? How do I get going? Well, just know any business that applies with us, when you apply, you go right to our website, or if you're a partner with us, you get access to your own landing page. So you can have your clients apply through the landing page. You can put their information into the landing page yourself. Whatever works for you. But once they apply, they're going to get partnered up with one of our business financing advisors. And I honestly think that this position is probably the most important position in business funding. I know I saw one of our lenders, shouting us out on LinkedIn. I'm not sure who else is live with us, and there's a lot of important people. But the ones that interact with the business owner directly are super duper important. Sometimes business owners are told things and they don't necessarily become true. And now all of a sudden, you as the person dealing with kind of the backlash, it's tough to get them, as we call, back to reality, right? At the end of the day, you have your expectations, but expectations are failed to be met all the time. It's really about aligning your expectations with what the reality of the situation is. And that's where our business financing advisors come in. They take a consultative approach that really, really dives into what is it that a business is using the funding for, and how are they able to make money with this money, and how can we position them with the best lender and the best product, and really just continue to keep them on a path of success, or put them on a path to success if it's one of those situations where they're looking to kind of jumpstart that, right? So what's available? Right now, the biggest products that we're seeing are equipment financing, cash advances, and lines of credit. This is pretty much across the board what's hot in the cannabis industry. It's also tried and true. These products have been funding in the cannabis industry for quite some time. I remember doing my first deal, my first year back in the industry back in 2017, doing my first deal in cannabis, and not really knowing what to expect because it was so new to me and foreign to me, and it was such a learning experience. But since then, we've done hundreds of deals. To be honest, it really is something that I don't want to say we have like we're gurus in cannabis lending. I don't think anybody is. I think it's way too new for that. But I can tell you, if you want to have a conversation about what's available for a specific scenario, we got enough experience under our belt to really have an educated conversation with you. And we're going to talk about real things and what's really available. It's important that you understand, where is this thing going, right? If you start to take a look at how much money is going to be generated through the cannabis industry, one thing that I've learned is, in order to fuel growth, you need one thing: money. I've seen it time and time again with business owners, regardless of industry. As this industry continues to grow, we know that we're going to be a resource that it can use to continue to take advantage of it. Shout out to all of the, all the states on the map, but reality of the situation, I wanted to provide some value. I hope you guys can see the image here. This is the most up-to-date map, right? So this is what's going on right now in the US. And you can use that to your advantage. Even if you're in one of the states where it's not legalized yet, correct me if I'm wrong, because out of the 48 states on the continental US, you're at least touching one that's legalized. I don't see any that aren't touching a state where it's got some form of legalization. Use that to your advantage. You know what's going on in your local area. Use that to get into these industries. It's so new. You can become known as the cannabis funding person, or the cannabis whatever type of person for that industry. And that's how these deals are going to get done. It's going to be through the people in the networks, the people that are in these businesses, and really the ones who develop relationships with the business owners. Realistically, if you're a cannabis business and you're looking for funding, this is where you have to go. You may find, debt or equity through strategic financing partners. You can use cash flow lending like we offer here, where we're going to take a look at how much can your business actually afford. Or you can go to your manufacturer distributor and see if they have some form of line. You can use that to your advantage. And see if they have some form of funding available that will allow you to tap into maybe more opportunity, right? At the end of the day, there's a lot going on. And I once heard the only constant is change. And what I've learned is that through change arises opportunity. There will certainly, for the foreseeable future, be changing regulations in cannabis. As you saw on the map earlier, Maryland later this year will be going through their own legalization. And that just tells you that there's going to be a lot of this going on, right? It's happened a lot over the past few years. The whole map wasn't, all one color, nor will it ever be. But, that's just, it's going to show you the growth, right? The one thing I can tell you, though, is I've built a good amount of connections in here, and I don't know who's on or where you're at. If anybody who's in the cannabis industry now, specifically the banking industry. I don't know if anybody in the chat is in the banking industry, and specifically the cannabis banking industry. You're probably at a local bank. You might not want to put your head out there just yet, but shout out to you, because these are relationships that are not easy to find. As far as like financing, banking, insurance goes in the cannabis industry, those challenges aren't going anywhere. I don't see, the CEOs at Chase or Wells Fargo changing, their guidelines all that soon, and that tells you that there's going to be opportunity out there. So, do what you would like with this information. It's really, really up to you. The one thing I will say is, the way we've always been is when a bank says no, ROK says yes. If you get our messages on LinkedIn, you might have even heard something similar. The one thing that I'll say, though, is traditional lenders and banks, they have a long list of what high risk really is, right? For you and I, it might be one thing. For them, it might be something totally different. And that's because at ROK, we actually have zero industry restrictions. And I don't know if everybody knows that. We have zero industry restrictions. And because of that, we do deals in all of these industries. But as far as like banks go, I don't know if you know this, but banks don't like lending money to restaurants. They don't like your local contractor. They don't like professional services. What banks like is deals that are tied to real estate with really high credit scores, and you own the real estate, and you may be looking for a little bit of cash out, or banks like to do commercial mortgages, for you purchasing a strip mall, and you're going to put in yourself in a couple stores, right? That's what banks like, and you have to understand what the appetite is for where you're trying to go with the funding. And then realistically, you can come to a broker like ROK, where we have all of these different relationships that allow us to do deals in these industries every single day. And I'm not even exaggerating at all. If you haven't partnered with ROK, a few things you should know is our transparency is top of everything that we do. Shout out to any of our active partners on here. I don't know if any of you guys have seen, we recently basically made the change from our partner portal over to Salesforce Communities Experience. What that means for our partners is they are in our CRM. If you log into our Salesforce Communities Experience, you are logged into our CRM. You get full transparency on everything that goes on. So again, take that information for what it's worth. Somebody might be sharing a report with you, or, sending you over an email about an update or this or that. Ours is coming directly from the system. The flexible funding options. ROK offers much, much more than just those couple funding options I mentioned earlier. We do, like it said, equipment financing, cash advance, line of credit, but we also do term loans. We do factoring, AR. We do a lot of different commercial style of financing, and have over 75 different banks and lenders on the platform. So it allows us to cast an extremely wide net. We have no minimum credit score to apply. And really, realistically, I want to shout out our team. It's them that sets this whole thing apart. If you're a partner of ours and you haven't had a real direct conversation recently, I suggest you do that. I suggest you reach out to your point of contact and have a direct conversation. Ask your questions that you need to know that are going to make you a more efficient partner, because that's what we're here to do. It's where we provide the most value. So what it means to be a partner with ROK, and just so you know, there's no, I do this off the cuff every time. There's no script. This is unscripted. That's why I stutter. That's why I hit you with ums. I say likes. You're getting the live raw footage here. If we have a technical difficulty for a second, you're gonna see it just as it happens to us. We're live across all platforms. We're real people. And we want you guys to know that we're really out here doing this. We really fund deals. Yes, we do some webinars every once in a while, but I promise you what we actually do is fund deals. And where we do that is in the alternative funding space. You can utilize us to get access to that funding. We have investment opportunities. And by referring us business, you're going to get access to potential revenue share for commissions that you may make. So, at the end of the day, it really does benefit not only you, but any business that you're doing business with by partnering with ROK, because you get access to what is actually going on. I always like to highlight a quick success story because we're in the cannabis industry. I went and pulled a cannabis funding for us. As you can see here, this deal was funded the same day for 360 grand. We have businesses all the time who apply with us. This was it says same day. It was technically the next day. It applied with us in the afternoon. It was approved and funded the following morning and into the evening. So technically for us, it was the same day because it was approved and funded the same day, but we received the deal the day before. But I always like to provide the full transparent overview. And that's because, guys, we are who we are. We do business the way we say we do business. If that wasn't the case, you wouldn't see reviews like this. I went too quickly. You wouldn't see reviews like this across the board. You wouldn't see people taking the time to leave these types of reviews if they weren't happy with the process behind it. So just as far as the way that things go, know you can reach us. We're real people. We want to have a conversation. And because of that, I'm going to take it 1 second here to plug us on social media. Also, really quick, if I don't get to some questions live in this Q&A, I am going to jump over to Instagram live later. So you may want to follow ROK and Tony on Instagram at least. But the one thing I'll say is anybody that follows me, I'm following back. I know the ROK team's doing the same. So you can count it as a 1-for-1. And we like to interact, guys. It's how we stay most connected. We utilize the age that we live in. We utilize TikTok and Instagram reels, and we're on Facebook. We're doing stories. We push this information any way, shape, or form, including a webinar where we're hosting, a couple hundred people on cannabis funding, right? So shout out to you. If my phone buzzes in my pocket, I'll feel it. So I know you're following. I see Christina's pointing at her Apple Watch, so we must be getting some. So shout out to you guys. We're excited to connect. Especially if you are new to this, or maybe this is your first webinar. But more importantly, if you're an existing partner and you're not following us, what's up? What's going on, bro? You got problems? No, I'm just kidding. No, we want to connect, right? At the end of the day, this is how we stay connected in 2023. It's not, it's not the most efficient, but it's how we do it. I also just want to point out a couple of things. If you'd like to connect, I saw Amika mentioning she has a deal. Feel free to call in right now, 833-653-0653. You can reach out to us on the web at rok.biz/partners. You can email us, partners@rok.biz. That's ROK.biz. That was for the guy who said I sounded like Verizon earlier. No, we want to chat, guys. We're real people. We do real business. And if you have cannabis deals, we want to get them funded. So let's certainly do that. We'd love to help. That was one of the taglines we came up with. We'd love to help, right? So thank you guys. I see everybody signing off now because they know I'm kind of wrapping up. But shout out to you guys, our partners, our soon-to-be partners. If you have feedback for us, if you want to talk business, if you want to talk cannabis funding or funding for restaurants or retail or auto repair or, manufacturing, medical, dental, you name it. Let's chat. This is what we're here to, this is what we do. We empower every small business through our access to funding. Again, I can't stress it enough. Thank you to you guys. And number one thing that I want to point out is we'll be doing this same thing again next month. So I hope to see everybody back here next month rocking out with us again. But until next time, keep rocking, everybody. Thanks.